Welcome to the Mindelo channel, where we simplify complex ideas and help you grow with confidence, especially when it comes to learning English. And what that means today for this deep dive, well, if you've been studying English for a while but you still struggle to speak fluently or, naturally, this deep dive is definitely for you. Today, we're really getting into this powerful idea. Stop memorizing. Start using English the way natives do. Because, let's be honest, so many learners spend hours memorizing. Vocabulary lists, grammar rules, expressions. You pore over lists, you highlight textbooks, you try to commit everything to memory. But then, when it's time to speak, poof, everything disappears. That feeling of frustration, right, of having the knowledge somewhere in your head but just not being able to use it, it's incredibly common. But here's the thing, and this is really crucial for you to understand. It's not your fault. The traditional way, the way many of us are taught English, is often kind of broken. And, well, it's time to fix it. Today, we'll show you how your brain actually learns language, why that rote memorization isn't working, and importantly, what you can do instead. How you can start using English in a real, fluent, and natural way. Just like native speakers do. We're bringing together brain science, language psychology, and some really practical tools to help you transform how you learn. For good. Let's get started. Okay, so many of us have been taught to approach English like a school subject, right? Almost like a set of facts you just need to memorize. We think things like, if I just memorize 20 words a day, I'll be fluent in no time. Or maybe if I study all these grammar rules really carefully, I'll stop making mistakes. It sounds incredibly reasonable, doesn't it? It feels logical, like a clear path. But does this sort of linear, almost mathematical approach actually work out in practice?
That's a really powerful question. Because, yeah, it seems totally intuitive, but our sources show it's often the root of some deep frustration for learners. The core issue, is that when you try to memorize individual words or, grammar rules totally out of context, you're basically treating English like it's math, as if there are these fixed formulas and separate parts you just have to, commit to memory. And this raises a really important question for us. If language isn't math, what is it? Fundamentally. What are we missing with that old approach?
Yeah, and that's where it gets really interesting. Our sources, they really highlight this. Language isn't math at all. It's not some static equation or just a collection of facts you store away. Language is behavior.
Exactly.
It's something you do. It's active, not just something you know in your head.
Precisely. And think about your own experience. This probably sounds familiar. Have you ever spent ages really diligently studying new vocabulary words only to find you couldn't remember them? Or worse, you couldn't actually use them smoothly when you were trying to talk to someone? Oh, definitely. Or you learn a grammar rule.
Right, like the present perfect, maybe.
Yeah.
You study it, you think you get it, but you still struggle to just, pop it out naturally when you're speaking on the fly.
Yeah.
This happens because your brain isn't trained to recall and use that specific information in the moment in a real, fast, natural conversation. Memorization, in that isolated way, it stores language like a fact, like it's on a list somewhere in your brain.
Okay.
But real fluency, that needs you to use language like a tool, instinctively. Without thinking, like riding a bike,
That makes sense. A tool, not a fact.
And look, this isn't just like anecdotal stuff or common complaints. This understanding, it's deeply rooted in solid research, second language acquisition research. One of the most important voices here is Dr. Stephen Krashen. He's a really renowned linguist, a professor. And his theory, it's actually simple, but so powerful, basically. We acquire language when we understand messages.
Yeah. Not when we memorize rules or words in isolation. It's about understanding stuff you hear or read. This isn't just a theory. It's fundamental to how your brain is actually wired to pick up language naturally. The focus shifts from effort to comprehension.
So what does this shift really mean for you, the learner, listening right now? It means language isn't primarily learned by, dissecting it, taking it apart into tiny pieces and analyzing them.
Right.
Instead, it's learned through exposure, by understanding language as it's actually used in real, meaningful situations. Our sources call this key idea comprehensible input.
Exactly. Comprehensible input, meaning you understand most of what you're hearing or reading, even if not every single word. And the evidence for this is really compelling. Think about the study from 2017. Cambridge University Press published it. They found students who studied collocations, words that naturally go together, like make a decision or strong coffee.
Okay, word partners.
Yeah, word partners and phrases in context. These students perform significantly better in accuracy and fluency than those just memorizing single, isolated words.
Significantly better. Wow.
Yeah. because your brain isn't having to build sentences from scratch every single time. It's using these pre-made chunks, ready to go language, just like native speakers do. And there's more. Another study, this one in applied linguistics, showed learners who practice regularly with authentic materials.
Okay, like what?
Things like TV shows, real conversations, podcasts, stuff made for native speakers, not just for learners.
Gotcha.
They developed much better listening and speaking skills compared to those who only use textbooks. The takeaway is pretty clear. Your brain learns language way better through real, meaningful use.
Holistically.
That really reframes everything, doesn't it? It just makes so much sense when you think about it. Like, how do native speakers actually learn English? Do little kids, like 2-year-olds, study grammar charts?
Of course not. That'd be absurd, right?
Totally. They listen, they watch, they copy what they hear, they repeat stuff. It's all immersion and imitation, simple as that.
Yeah.
They hear their parents or whoever say things like, pick it up, or let's go outside, or do you want juice? Simple, everyday stuff. And what's really fascinating is over time, they just start using these exact expressions, these phrases themselves without ever thinking consciously about like verb tenses or sentence structure.
Right. Nobody explained the grammar.
Exactly. Native speakers use thousands of these common expressions, these patterns, without ever knowing the explicit grammar rules behind them. It's just intuitive. And this is what our sources call acquisition through chunks, learning whole phrases, entire expressions, natural groups of words, not just single disconnected words.
Okay, acquisition through chunks. That feels like the key.
It's a game changer.
So if you want to speak like a native, you need to stop thinking like a student who's just memorizing facts for a test and start thinking like a real language user, just like a child does, naturally learning their first language through hearing it and using it.
Which brings us to another common idea, almost a myth, really. Many learners, understandably, believe that the more words you memorize, the better your English will automatically be. Like it's just about quantity.
More words equals more fluency. Seems logical.
Yeah, it seems logical. But here's the problem our sources point out. Just knowing a word's definition doesn't mean you can actually use it. Not effectively, not naturally, not in a real conversation.
That's such a crucial distinction. Okay, give us an example.
Okay, take the word opportunity. You probably know what it means. Favorable time, circumstances, right?
You got the definition.
But do you know how to use it fluently, naturally? Like, think about these patterns native speakers use constantly. I don't want to miss this opportunity, or thanks for the opportunity. Maybe it's a great opportunity for growth.
Right, those sound natural.
If you only learned opportunity by itself from a list, you'll likely hesitate when you try to speak. You'll be trying to construct the sentence around it, and boom, fluency lost.
Okay, I see.
So instead of just learning more individual words, the research strongly suggests you try learning better chunks, how words naturally fit together.
Better chunks, not just more words. Let's dive into some more real-life examples then, make it super concrete.
Okay, good idea. How about the word get?
Oh yeah, that one's notorious. So many meanings.
Exactly. It can be incredibly frustrating. So instead of trying to memorize every single definition, which would take forever and probably just confuse you, focus on the phrases where it naturally shows up, where it's already part of a chunk people actually use.
Like?
Get up, get ready, get along with someone, or get it done. These are just everyday expressions. You hear them all the time.
Okay, so learn the whole phrase.
Precisely. Same with make. Don't just know make means to create. Notice how it's used in chunks.
Give me some make chunks.
Sure. Make a decision, make a mess, make sure, make time for.
Okay, yeah, those are super common.
Right. These aren't just random combinations. They're like fixed units of meaning that native speakers use automatically, almost without thinking. And the magic is, once you hear these chunks repeatedly, in context, your brain just starts recognizing them. And then using them naturally, it becomes part of your active, usable vocabulary.
Okay, so we've talked about why memorizing often falls short and how language is really acquired through chunks and input. So the big question for you listening is, what should you actually do instead of just memorizing lists?
Right. Let's get practical. We've distilled a kind of step-by-step guide from the research to help you build real fluency. First step. 1. Use real English input. Immerse yourself in authentic language.
So like watch shows, YouTube, listen to podcasts.
Exactly. But not necessarily to study in the old way. The goal is to absorb. Focus on how things are actually said in real situations. Pause stuff. Repeat it out loud, like watch a scene from a TV show. Maybe jot down a few natural phrases you hear.
Or listen to a podcast, like this one.
Yeah, and repeat expressions that sound natural, things you might want to use yourself.
Okay, absorb, don't just study. Got it. What's next?
2, focus on chunks, not words. This is huge. Stop writing down single words with definitions.
Right, we talked about that.
Start writing down full phrases, natural chunks. So don't write. Agree to have the same opinion. That's a definition.
What should you write instead?
Right. I totally agree with you. Or maybe the question form, do you agree or disagree? These are ready-to-use bits of language you can plug right into a conversation.
Makes sense. More practical.
Absolutely. Then, 3, repeat and use out loud. Speaking is physical. It's like a muscle. You got to train it.
How do you train it?
Our sources really recommend a technique called shadowing. Have you heard of this?
Shadowing. Like repeating what you hear.
Exactly. Listen to a sentence or a short phrase from, say, a podcast or a show and repeat it immediately. Try to copy the rhythm, the intonation, the speed.
Mimicking.
Yeah, mimicking. It helps your brain build those speaking patterns automatically, improves your pronunciation and fluency without you having to consciously think about every little sound.
Cool technique. Okay, step 4.
4, use it in your daily life. This one's often overlooked, but really powerful. Weave English into your routine, even when you're just by yourself.
Like talking to yourself.
Yeah. Talk to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing as you're doing it. Okay, I'm making coffee now. Or, right, let's get started on this email.
Okay. Why does that help?
Because it connects the language directly to real experience, to action. And that helps it stick way better in your long-term memory. It's tied to something meaningful to you, not just an abstract concept on a page.
Connects language to life. I like that. And the last step.
The most crucial one for actually using it. 5, practice in real conversations. You have to actually talk to people.
Okay, find opportunities.
Yeah. Join language exchange groups online or in person. Use apps like HelloTalk or Tandem. Find online communities, forums, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And the goal here is not perfection. Please don't aim for perfection.
Right, that's paralyzing.
Totally. The goal is just to get comfortable using English the way it's really spoken. Make mistakes, learn from them. It's all part of the process in a real environment.
This all sounds so much more, well, doable and less like homework. But what about flashcards? A lot of people use Anki or Quizlet. Do they still have a place?
That's a great question. And yes, they can, but with a crucial tweak. This brings us to like a bonus tip, or step 6. 6, optimize your tools. Use spaced repetition for chunks, not isolated words.
Okay, so spaced repetition is still good.
It can be, yes. Spaced repetition systems like Anki or Quizlet are efficient for memorizing if you use them correctly for language. But here's the trick, the critical distinction. Don't put single words on your flashcards.
What should you put then?
Use full sentences, even mini dialogues if you can. Give your brain the context. So instead of a card like word, delay, definition, to make something late, which is just abstract.
Make it
something like, my flight was delayed by 2 hours. Put that whole sentence on the card.
So you learn the word in a real pattern.
Exactly. You're memorizing the word in use as part of a natural chunk. That's far, far more effective for actually being able to recall and use it when you speak.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all mean for you listening right now? Let's recap the essential nuggets, the main takeaways.
Yeah, let's boil it down.
First, memorizing individual words and grammar rules in isolation.
Yeah.
Fundamentally not how your brain learns language best.
Right. Ditch the lists, mostly.
Second, native speakers and fluent non-natives, they learn through constant exposure, meaningful repetition, and that comprehensible input. Understanding messages.
It's about absorption.
Third, shift your focus. Stop focusing on single words. Start learning and internalizing full phrases, expressions, real-life chunks.
Get those chunks.
Oh, fourth, use real English. Get your input from podcasts, TV shows, real conversations. Make that your main learning material.
Authentic stuff.
And finally, practice speaking out loud, often. And find ways to use English in real, actual contexts.
Use it or lose it, basically.
Yeah.
These points, when you connect them to the bigger picture, they really change how we should think about learning a language effectively. It's less about solving a puzzle, more about like practicing a living skill.
Exactly. Fluency isn't about knowing everything. It's not about having the entire dictionary in your head or knowing every single grammar rule. It's about being able to use what you know smoothly, naturally, confidently, in real time.
Yeah.
It's about communication, not about being perfect.
Well said.
So if you've been trying to memorize your way to English fluency, and maybe you felt stuck or hit a wall, it really is time to try a smarter, more effective approach. Let your brain do what it does best. Let it hear, feel, and use the language organically, just like a native speaker would. And remember this final provocative thought for you to mull over, something to take away from this deep dive. Stop memorizing. Start living English. If this deep dive helped you see a new way forward with your English, please do make sure to like, subscribe, and maybe share it with a friend who's also learning and maybe struggling with those old methods. Mindelo is here to make your English journey easier, smarter, and definitely more real. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, keep speaking, keep growing, and most importantly, keep it real.